But remember, it had to be done in a way that was consistent with a free and democratic society. What they're doing is not consistent with any free or democratic society. It's more consistent with a totalitarian society. So don't be fooled by those who try to tell you that somehow you can skirt around the Charter Rights and Freedoms. I was there, I helped write the damn thing, and they're wrong, and we're right.
One. One.
With Terry.
Michael.
And we're off. Greetings. Welcome to the latest edition of Blunt with Terry.
And Michael.
That's me. So, a lot of goings on in the last week. Where would you like to begin?
Well, we were...
Can we talk about Mr. Trudeau first? Hold on, I got a little rant here.
Special.
Anyways, we'll go beyond that.
Let's start off. Well, we made our way down to the Freedom Convoy on Saturday,
Yes, we did.
and so
We had to go check out all the terrorism for ourselves.
So we leave our little 2-horse town and directly into a blizzard on the way to Ottawa. Hell, a minute ago you couldn't see those wind turbines out there. And we'll talk about those sometime too. You can see the snow's not quite so thick over here. It's worse on this side of the road. There is a turbine in there. All right, so that's it
What
for...
are these fans blowing the snow around for?
Yeah.
I have never seen such a crowd of peaceful, united people with an opinion in my life. I saw no terrorist activities. We talked to a bunch of people.
everyday Canadians.
Everyday Canadians
And they
from
had-
all over the place.
And all with different stories too. Some of them had reasons why they lost their jobs because of the vaccine. Other people had lost their jobs because of the mandates in a different way. They knew friends. He lost his entire family lost their jobs, and he came out because they couldn't. So he came out on behalf of them. And
We saw nobody desecrating anything. We saw nothing but a sea of Canadian flags.
On our highway, on our way into Ottawa, there's our first set of Canadian flags. Opinion? Supporters?
Oh, obviously.
We didn't see any swastikas. We didn't see any Confederation flags. We saw a lot of signs.
well, you can be the judge for yourself. You can take a look at our footage.
We will
We'll play
definitely
a
show
little
you
bit
some
of that for
footage,
you, and you can see for yourself.
Show them a little bit right here.
The sea of Canadian flags. So again, it was cold.
It was
It
cold
was
again.
cold.
Not as
So
cold as
it
the
was-
first visit, but it was still cold.
But there were shelters right there, so we took refuge right away when we got there. We had to seek shelter.
They're calling them lawbreakers and terrorists. And, I didn't see any breaking of any laws. Peaceful assembly.
There was no breaking of any laws, and there was enough people there that if anybody had even attempted to do anything of the sort, they would be on camera doing it, and
Exactly.
they would be peacefully told to leave because they
Exactly.
don't represent the majority of the views that are present at this peaceful protest.
Yes,
And that's exactly what it is.
We spent the afternoon with the fringe minority. That was a pretty big fringe from what I saw. We got to talk to a bunch of different people. We interviewed a couple of the truck drivers themselves, actually 3 that I know of.
Yeah.
All with the same message: the mandates need to stop.
And I love the. We'll take a play that little
look at
footage.
this.
Yeah,
I got this while we were there from one of the so-called terrorist truck drivers.
we're gonna play that footage for you right now too. What happened is Michael was given a shirt, and so the truck. He said, "Terry, try and get one from the truck driver." So I went up there, and he had obviously limited supply, and he'd just given one to Michael. And he said, "I've got plenty of kid sizes." And I said, "Oh, hang on just a second." There's a family going by with
Terry ran
3
with
little
the
kids, and they had an interesting technique for keeping the track of her little extremists. She had 3 of them. They were all like 2.5 feet tall,
Yeah.
and they had fuzzy bear hats.
wasn't there?
Great
Hats?
big
And they
hats,
were
so she could
smiling and they were happy.
keep track of her little.
Even with the
extras.
horns, even with the horns going up, there was no fear in these children whatsoever.
And that's a great thing. So she went up and got one.
How'd that court injunction go over with the no honking, by the way? We got some footage of
Actually,
that too.
yeah, that's interesting because I saw an interview. Viva actually managed to interview the head of the kind of truck convoy, and he was saying that was one of the things that they
Kudos to Viva, by the way.
Yeah, woo!
Thumbs up to
Line
Viva.
it up. Yeah, so here again, the two top people at the head of the convoy. One's Jewish, and the other's a native.
I'm here with Ben Dichter. Never met him before. This is my first time. It feels like we're like in a clandestine meeting, but we're just in a hotel room. For anybody listening and wants to know, who are the formal and say exclusive spokespeople for the Freedom Convoy 2022? If someone says something and it relates to it, the only authorized people are whom to actually issue public statements for the Freedom Convoy?
So myself, Tamara, and Dagny are official. We also defer to a couple of people that are on the team. And the other thing is, it's hysterical. The two spokespeople who really got this started with our team, one is a Métis woman from Alberta, and the other is a Jew. But Prime Minister Blackface, he's the virtuous one who's not racist. He is the most racist person to hold office in our country's history. It's gross.
There's just one problem. I don't look Middle Eastern.
Leave that to us. Sit up and take a look, Gary.
It's uncanny.
You're going to fool everyone, Gary. Or should I say,
Trudeau.
They gave in to the noise bylaw, and in what they had asked them, they said, please, you've got train horns, and we've heard them. Some of the truckers have train horns.
Oh, yeah,
They're loud.
they're really
And
cool.
so that was the court saying, that's a little bit over the top. It really doesn't belong in the city. And the truckers agreed. It's like, yes, okay, it's got no place in the city, so we'll stop. And that's what they gave into. The police and the press, everyone ran with the ball that the truckers were not allowed to honk their horns at all. And they had never agreed to that.
Never.
And so that's why you do hear the trucks honking their horns. They had agreed not to honk their train horns.
I heard a lot of yells of freedom.
Freedom, just...
Freedom.
If you
Just
ever,
say no.
hey Canadians, if you ever wanted to experience that, just
It was
get
history.
into the crowd and you'll be able to experience of yelling the word freedom up to the top of your lungs.
Nobody was yelling.
And have it actually mean something.
You're on your own.
There was warming stations, places to get warm. They were feeding people. If you needed something to drink, it was there.
Free coffee.
I mean, non-alcoholic. I mean, if you needed a drink of water or juice
Free
or
coffee, tea. Yeah.
it was there, and they were more than happy, and they thanked everybody for being there and supporting them.
And there wasn't a donation place to give money or anything like
Nope.
that because that's set up in a different place. So yeah, now we have our state of affairs in Canada as we speak. And
Perhaps you think you're being treated unfairly.
essentially, martial law has been
Thrust upon us.
instigated in through Parliament. They voted to
What's he call it? What's
implement
he
the War Emergency Measures Act,
which is just a new name for his daddy's War Measures Act, which was actually made to deal with actual terrorists.
actual
who are
terrorism,
blowing things
which
up and
was
kidnapping and
happening
killing people.
in 1970.
There's been nobody kidnapped. There's been nobody murdered. There's been nothing blown up. There's been no damage that I've seen. I don't know where he's coming off with this. Because wait, how did he put it? We have to put a stop to this now because you're hurting our economy. You're making people lose their jobs because of this convoy. Okay, something that he himself has been faithful doing for 2 years. 2 years of this nonsense, people.
But
2
now
years
it's all
of
on the convoy for ruining the
Convoy is
economy.
ruining the
and
economy.
He actually said he was going to bail out the Ottawa restaurants, businesses that closed down. And actually, had they stayed open, they would have made more business, and there would have been no reason to bail them out at all. This is how you buy off. Yeah, you're buying off support right there. But this is the criteria for implementing the Emergency Measures Act.
None of which the criteria has been met.
Yeah, and you've seen the footage that we took, and all the thousands of other videos that's out there on YouTube. And so here's the criteria. It says, for the purpose of this act, a national emergency is an urgent and critical situation of a temporary nature that, A, seriously endangers the lives, health, and safety of Canadians and is of such proportions or nature as to exceed the capacity or authority of a province to deal with it.
Hold right there. Okay, good point on this one. They were unprepared. They didn't know this was coming. They knew weeks in advance that this was coming. Weeks. And they weren't prepared for it. They didn't have the capacity to deal with it then.
Yeah.
Now he has to do this. Nonsense.
Okay, so B.
B.
So criteria A, not met. B, seriously threatens the ability of the government of Canada to preserve the sovereignty, security, and integrity of Canada.
Territorial integrity.
And the last little part, and that cannot be effectively dealt with under any other law in Canada. So there is no criteria that he's met here. And in fact, you have the police chief of Canada who resigned.
No, police chief of Ottawa.
Of Ottawa, sorry, of Canada. Excuse me. And, you know...
with full pension, by the way.
And so peaceful...
Full pension. He gets his full pension.
Yeah, so mind you, all the politicians have received their paychecks throughout this entire 2-year ordeal, whereas Canadians
haven't missed
have
many
not.
meals.
And so a very important fact is that listen, this is really important, okay? Sworn affidavits. They anticipated this coming, the JCCF, and they said any attempt by this government to actually introduce this is going to be met with court action immediately.
Which they have begun.
They have begun. So already sworn affidavits about the situation in Ottawa, filed with the courts, indicate that the truckers are friendly, courteous, humble, considerate, and peaceful.
Absolutely everything we just saw last weekend.
The peaceful nature of the truckers' protest has also been confirmed by numerous media sources.
That'd be independent media, not government-sponsored
and by
media.
hundreds, if not thousands of videos taken by people on the ground in Ottawa. Free press, YouTubers, Ottawa YouTubers, everybody participating. Congratulations.
Congratulations for taking a stand and not being afraid of the
the
draconian
only thing that Justin Trudeau
government
has when he goes to court is his paid propaganda CBC to back him up. Whereas there's already thousands of affidavits sworn referencing thousands of videos of the peaceful nature of the protests.
World leaders are laughing at this man right now.
This is why we're actually doing what we're doing. Congratulations, all the YouTubes. This is keep it up. All the YouTubers, keep that independent footage up. Document the peaceful protests that are happening.
We will continue to do our part. We'll even risk arrest and go back and visit them again if they pull this off.
And we're going to hold the government accountable. We're going to meet them in court. Mr. Peckford is the sole living signatory of the of the Constitution in 1982, who's suing the Trudeau government because of the travel mandate. So we're the only country in the world right now where we cannot fly in between provinces.
Yeah.
And
can't even take a train or a bus.
And so his specialty area that he was specifically dealing with Canadians' right of freedom of movement. And so he's bringing the suit, and as part of that suit is demonstrating that these rights were never supposed to be taken away unless extreme peril in times of war, in times of famine, in times of
major natural disasters,
major incidences, and he has just demonstrated to the court. He'll be using this as an example of why Justin Trudeau's why they need to reform this part further, because Justin Trudeau just used these powers to invoke Emergency Measures Act without any real emergency or danger to
completely
Canadians.
unnecessary.
It meets none of the criteria. Brian Peckford, the only living signatory of the Charter of Rights, the true Canadian fighting for all our rights. You can find more information about his lawsuit against the Trudeau regime at the Justice Centre for Constitutional Freedoms. Mr. Peckford is also a board member of Taking Back Our Freedoms at tbof.ca. There, you can find excellent resources that can hook you up with your local and federal politicians so you can send them a message to let them know how you feel.
So until next time, stay safe. A little shout out to Red Green. Keep your stick on the ice.
Keep your stick on the ice.
Keep
True
your powder
Canadian.
dry.
Back when comedy was allowed to be comedy.
Yes. I wish Super Dave Osborne would come and visit us for the show. That'd be a good one too. But his chances are unlikely. So, but until next time, stay safe out there, and we'll see you again.
Cheers.
Have a good night from Michael
And Terry.
at Blonde.
But remember, it had to be done in a way that was consistent with a free and democratic society. What they're doing is not consistent with any free or democratic society. It's more consistent with a totalitarian society. So don't be fooled by those who try to tell you that somehow you can skirt around the Charter Rights and Freedoms. I was there, I helped write the damn thing, and they're wrong, and we're right.